Hello and welcome back to our channel. Today we are going to tell you the 20 best documentaries that are available on Netflix for you to watch. So let's go for it. Number 20, Misha and the Wolves. Would you doubt someone who claimed to have survived the Holocaust, and even if their narrative was ludicrous? That is the central question of Misha and the Wolves, a fascinating documentary by Sam Hopkinson. Misha de Fonseca claims that her parents were kidnapped by Nazis when she was 7 years old, and she ran away to Germany to locate them, joining a pack of wolves along the way. Number 19, Road to Roma. The directors are Andres Clarion and Gabriel Nuncio. Road to Roma is an excellent supplement viewing if you've already seen Alfonso Cuarón Oscar-winning Netflix movie Roma, Cuarón's most personal film to date. This feature-length documentary travels behind the scenes as he creates an especially intimate Mexico City set drama, reliving his own recollections. Number 18, Gaga 5'2". The director Chris Gaga 5'2" is the good movie if you're looking for a celebrity documentary that goes a little bit deeper than the surface. The film follows Lady Gaga's life around the time of her album, Joanne's development and release, as well as her casting, director, star Bradley Cooper's A Star Is Born, and termination of her engagement with Taylor Kinney. Number 17, Athlete A. The director of Bonnie Cohen and John Schenck, Athlete A is a must-see for anyone interested in the United States gymnastics program. The documentary follows journalist investigation into the team, Dr. Larry Nassar's sexual assault of the young girls he was supposed to be assisting, and includes interviews with both journalists and victims of Nassar's abuse. It's an eye-opening documentary that will change your perspective on the U.S. gymnastics. Number 16, Murder Among the Mormons. The director are Jared Hess and Tyler Masom. Murder Among the Mormons, a 3-part documentary, is one of the best Netflix original films available right now. The film follows a sequence of historical document discoveries that threaten the upend of Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, only for important players to be found dead as a result of bombs. Number 15, 13, Ava DuVernay is a director. Ava DuVernay follows up her critically acclaimed film Selma with a harrowing documentary about widespread incarnation of minorities in the aftermath of the 13th Amendment's passage. It's a film that will enrage, depress, and hopefully inspire you to take action against a system that has harmed our fellow citizens. Number 14, My Octopus Teacher. Pippa and James Reed, delightfully documentary My Octopus Teacher is a must-see for anyone looking for something relaxing, inspiring, and curiously beautiful. The film never cheapens and anthropomorphizes the complexity of the aquatic world while also never losing sight of its beauty. Number 13, American Murder: The Family Next Door. The director Jenny Popplewell, the Netflix original documentary, uses social media posts, police recordings, phone texts, and home video footage to replay the 2018 Watts family killings in a painful and infuriating way. It investigates the abduction of Shannon Watts and her 2 children, as well as the horrific events that ensued. Her husband was interrogated by authorities by his possible role in her disappearance. Number 12, High Score. High Score is a 6-episode docuseries, is one of Netflix's best documentaries to date. This one in-depth study into how a video game came to be as we know them, as described by individuals who create them. It starts with a look at the transition from arcade games to home consoles, covering everything from game-changing debut of the NES to the Sega's strategy for taking on Nintendo. Number 11, Last Dance. The director is Jason Harehair. You don't have to be a basketball fan to be completely intrigued and astonished by Last Dance, a 10-episode docuseries. The story of Michael Jordan's final season with Chicago Bulls is compared with his earlier life and career, as well as the careers of the Bulls colleagues like Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman over the length of the 10-hour. The Last Dance is a fascinating portrait of the guy who dedicated his life to achieving excellence at all costs. Number 10, The Speed Cubers. The director is Sue Kim. The Speed Cubers pack a more emotional punch than feature-length documentaries in their 40-minute runtime. The story follows Felix Zimdig's, an Australian Rubik's Cube solver who made an undisputed world champion until American Max Park arrived. What should have been a narrative following about intense rivalry in a small sport became a wonderful one about friendship and heroism instead. It's incredibly great to witness such a good and uplifting story in a time when so many stories about competitiveness are easily turned negative. Number 9, Tiger King: Murder, Mayhem, and Madness. Eric Good and Rebecca Chocklin are the directors. Each episode of Tiger King, a 7-part docuseries, is stranger than the last, to the point where you may find yourself thinking you're sure things can't get any weirder than this. You'd be completely wrong. Joe Exotic's story is crazier than fiction, involving lies, firearms, a president presidential bid, and a murder for hire scheme. This is something you have to see to believe. Number 8, Crip Camp. The directors Nicole Newham and Jim Lebrick. The Oscar-winning American Factor was the first Netflix documentary from executive producers Michelle and Barack Obama, and Crip Camp is just as good, if not better. The film begins with incredible archival footage from the camp, but we then follow the many people who met over the next few decades as they engage in campaigning to enact legislation to make the world more accessible to those with disabilities. It's a fight that shouldn't have had to be waged in the first place. It's both inspiring and maddening to witness how hard these people had to work to make even the smallest change possible. Number 7, Miss Americana. The director Lana Wilson, Miss Americana, a Taylor Swift Netflix documentary, is a ordinary music documentary. It isn't even truly about Swift's music as much as it is Swift as a person. It's a film about Swift's long path to learning how to care less about what other people think of her, and how that appears in her feminist awakening and decision to publicly express her political opinion, which we witness in real time. It's interesting to watch Swift come to terms with who she is as a human being while still being one of the world's most renowned individuals. Number 6, American Factory. The directors are Stephen and Julia Richard. Do you want to feel good about the state of American industry and how skilled workers are treated? Then you should avoid this film. American Factory is an award-winning documentary about a former General Motors plant in Dayton, Ohio that is given new life, and a new American glass-making facility for Chinese billionaire's company, Fayua. You know how this narrative goes if you've worked on a factory floor or been on either side of a picket line. Number 5, The Great Hack. The directors Kareem and Jahane. The Great Hack, a Netflix documentary released in 2019, delves into the Facebook Cambridge Analytica incident and how, despite Facebook's denials, the social media behemoth utilized users' data. Through interviews with investigative journalists and Cambridge Analytica whistleblower Brittany Kaiser, the film offers a shocking deep dive into how data has become the most valuable resource on the planet, and how data is being used to target people with adverts, phony viral videos, and false news stories in order to influence important elections. Number 4, Power of Grayskull. The definitive history of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. The title reveals everything you need to know about the book, a deep dive into all things He-Man from filmmakers Loeb and McCallum. This film is a one-stop shop for everything MOTU. From the haphazard creation of the muscle-bound hero as a Mattel toy franchise conceived as a competitor to Kenner, and the property's modern resurgence thanks to a devoted fanbase and astute creative decisions. Number 3, Knock Down the House. While some may disregard the documentary because its primarily character is a liberal politician Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez, Rachel Lear's film isn't actually about right-left divide. Rather, it is a battle between insurgent grassroots politicians against establishment authority. When the film depicts the tough, unglamorous task of campaigning and developing a movement, it is at its best. If you're fed up with politicians that don't care about their voters, Knock Down the House is a powerful rally cry. Number 2, Abducted in Plain Sight. The director Sky Borgman. While watching true crime documentary, the phrases bonkers, crazy, and wild may spring to mind. The tragic story that develops in Sky Borgman's film Abducted in Plain Sight would nullify them all. The story revolves around the Broberg family, whose daughter Jan was kidnapped twice by their next-door neighbor, Robert B. Berchtold. Yes, the story's details are shocking, but the entire narrative considerably more disturbing. Number 1, Five Came Back. The director Laurent Barzure. Five Came Back is a 3-part docu-series based on author Mark Harris' non-fiction book of the same name, which looks at World War II through the eyes of 5 filmmakers who contributed to the war effort in various ways. John Ford, William Wyler, John Huston, Frank Capra, and George Stevens. During the war, these legendary Hollywood directors were enlisted to make a variety of movies to raise support, teach troops, and capture harrowing incidents. It's a must-see for World War II enthusiasts. And that's it for today's video. We will be looking forward to seeing you in the next such videos. Goodbye.